What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday Night Live with Squadron. I appreciate you being here, and forgive me for being out of breath. The guys backstage were talking to me about 5 minutes ago, and right after I started the countdown clock, I realized I forgot to go out and grab the new paints for the week. So my wife met me halfway between here and the place where she makes these paints. So yeah, I'm out of breath, but it's good to be here. I hope everybody's having a great week. Oh, man, let me, since I just ran to get these, let me tell you about the new paints for the week. These are the Starship colors that have been, we announced them back when we announced everything else, and they've been a long time coming, but let's see. Starship Gray number 1, 2, and 3 are finally ready. We've got Starship Tan. We've got Starship Blue Greens number 1, 2, and 3. And there are several others too. I didn't bring them all. There's a yellow, there's a red. In total, there are 12 different Starship colors. And all of these colors are actually designed and produced based on the original series, Enterprise. So we've got a paint guide, if you will, that we're planning. Whew, man, this is rough. I'm gonna bring in my brother to give me some backup. What's going on, Jared?
Hey, not much. Just happy to be here.
Yeah, me too.
You all right?
Yeah, like I haven't ran that fast, that quickly in quite a little while, so
it makes sense.
It happens, I guess. So a lot of guys have met you at the shows now. Jared's been going to the shows with me lately. If you call, you may talk to him on the phone. If you come by the store, which, by the way, is now open unofficially. We haven't really made an announcement yet or put an open sign up, but we're good to go. So if you've come by the shop, you've met Jared. And so wanted to have him on the show with me so everybody can say hello and he can be involved with us on Wednesday nights. So what you got sitting behind you there, Jared?
Just some models mostly. Well, actually, yeah, mostly X Plus.
Yeah.
Just some stuff that I've had sitting in my stash that I've actually taken out of a box since I got to Ringgold.
So is that kind of your thing, figures and monsters and stuff?
Yeah, mostly sci-fi figures, things like that.
Okay.
It's more my speed. I
There
like
you go.
all the military stuff is just awesome to me, but a little out of my range.
Well, it takes all kinds, you know. So I've got this show and tell that we've got here in a little while. You've got your Tesla Trooper that you put together from Border Models. So we'll take a look at that in a little while. Hey Jeff, what's going on, man?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, we're just gonna have a squadron party here tonight. And
I'm happy to see that you can still run. Right?
me too.
I mean, if I ran from the house out to the shop, they'd have to be doing CPR on me.
Hey, well, this show is not over yet, so we'll see what happens. Oh man, so I've got a lot of cool stuff for us to look at tonight in the show and tell. It seems like every month we do the show and tell, I'm always worried that the show and tell is going to die. But yet again, I think we have more pictures than we have yet tonight. So all sorts of cool stuff to look at. But before we get into that, one of the other main focuses of the evening is we've got this guy, Neil Stokes. How are you, Neil?
You know, I'm doing well, Brandon. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
Hey, good
Thanks
evening.
for joining us.
Wednesday.
Yeah. So, guys, if you don't know, Neil Stokes is the president of AMPS, which you've heard me talking about quite a bit. It's the Armor Modeling and Preservation Society. It is a model club. Many of us are familiar with IPMS. AMPS is kind of like that. It's a completely separate organization, and their primary focus is on military vehicles, hence the name.
True.
So, Neil, if I understand correctly, you are relatively new to the position of the president of the chapter of the club.
I have been the AMPS president for almost 48 hours now. So
Excellent.
yeah, I'm still kind of new to the job. Mind you, I spent the last 4 years being the vice president, so I'm not completely new to the AMPS executive board, and I've been a member for probably about 20 years now. So
Right. Well, good deal. Well, tell us. Of course, we want to talk about the AMPS National Convention that's coming up next month.
mhm.
But before that, in case the guys don't know, give us the Reader's Digest version of AMPS. How can
Well,
they get involved? You just give us the rundown.
okay, so AMPS is a bunch of military vehicle geeks. The AMPS actually stands for Armor Modeling and Preservation Society.
Okay.
So while we are obviously involved in the modeling side of things, we are also involved in the historical and preservation aspect of stuff. So we have relationships with some museums around the United States and also internationally, because we're all about making sure that the historical aspect of of what we do of the hobby is also preserved, as well as obviously fostering the modeling community generally. We're about 750 odd members. Probably 90% of those are here in the USA, but the rest are spread around a bunch of different countries.
Okay.
We've got members. I think our furthest flung is New Zealand.
Wow. Yeah. It's hard to get much further away than that.
It is, trust me, because I grew up in Australia, and
Okay.
where I grew up is almost exactly the opposite point on the Earth's surface. So it is a little further away, but not much.
All right. Well, I've been talking about over the past several months to these guys that I'm going to the AMPS Nationals.
Yes,
So
sir.
they've heard me say that a lot. So what does that mean, Neil? I mean,
Well,
when I get there, what am I walking into? Tell these guys what
you're
they
gonna
can
be
expect.
walking into a great big room filled with probably somewhere in the region of about 700 models.
Okay.
And we have 110 plus tables of vendors selling every kind of model kit and accessory, including Squadron. You guys are not only a vendor there, but you're also one of the sponsors of the show. So
That's
thank you
right.
very much for that.
Yeah, I've got
But
the our sponsor donation. It's a big secret, but I think you're going to get a big kick out of it.
oh, I'm sure we will, and we'll thank you in advance. But
He's donating
so
his half-built Dora. Sorry, you hung that right over the plate. I just hung that.
Yeah, I walked into that one. All right, well, go ahead, Neil.
So we have a great big room there. So say a lot of models, a lot of vendors. We have a great raffle. That's where a lot of the sponsorship donations go into our raffle, and basically it is anything ground warfare related.
Okay.
So if it walks, if it crawls, if it rolls, if it hovers over the ground, because you can bring your Star Wars snowspeeder if you want to.
Okay.
And so we are certainly not opposed to the science fiction stuff, and we'll get into a little bit more of a discussion about that. But
Yeah,
what you're
absolutely.
looking at here is the AMPS website, www.amps amps-armor
amps-armor.org. Yep.
.org. Yep. And front page there has all the information on the show. Our theme this year is African armor. So, there is a special theme award. You don't have to, you can enter anything you like. It doesn't have to be, African themed, but certainly qualifies for that award. And we're in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, which if you're not familiar with the geography is probably about 30 minutes from Hershey.
Okay.
Harrison,
All right.
basically.
It's a very nice hotel, the Penn Harris Hotel. We got a great convention space there. We have seminar space as well, separate from the main room. So we'll actually have some historical seminars. We'll have some hands-on workshops where you can sign up, go in, get your hands dirty, working with particular model techniques. And the seminars are run by some notable modelers, which you can see there on the page. And we just generally have a heck of a time.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny when I first started going to the AMP shows, everybody used to say, "Oh yeah, it's all about the models," and it was for a long period of time. Yeah, that was kind of the focus, and it still is. But for me and for a lot of other people, it's also become a lot about the community, right?
Right.
This is a bunch of people who've known each other for years. We all get together, we all enjoy each other and our work. And okay, a lot of beer gets consumed as well at the bar after hours, but we just generally have a great time. It's like a family reunion, including some of the dysfunctional relatives who tell very bad jokes. So,
All right.
We
Now,
all know a bunch of them.
Jared went with me last year. We were
Yep.
there at the AMPS.
that was out at South Bend, Indiana. Yes.
Yep. And we had a great time. Jared, so we get there, and and back over here on the website, it's a 3-day show, right? So Thursday,
Yep,
Friday,
we
Saturday.
run from Thursday lunchtime to Saturday about 5 o'clock.
Well, we get there Wednesday night last year, and we get there super late. We get all of our stuff unloaded into the vendor area, and then we're going to be able to start setting up Thursday morning. We get there. By the time we got there, it was super late. Like, I don't know, Jared, what time was it?
It had to be 9 or after.
Yeah. So, and it took us, I don't know, 2-3 hours to get our truck unloaded, get everything in. So, I don't know, just what do you think? 11 or 12 o'clock by the time we got out of there?
Probably so. Sounds
Yeah.
right.
And we were trying to find something to eat. There was nothing open. Everything had closed except for this one place. What was it? It was an oyster bar.
Oyster bar.
Yeah, I knew it was some kind of seafood, but I couldn't remember. It's an oyster bar.
Oysters in Indiana, yeah.
Yeah, well, let's just say that I had to set up by myself Thursday morning.
Oh dear.
Well, that's right. You got really, really sick.
Yeah, don't eat the crab.
Oh boy.
I remember that now.
Yeah,
Mm,
so
yeah, so I missed Thursday.
well, it's like you said, Neil. It is about the models. That's why we go. But you create those memories, and you create those stories. You meet friends, you see old friends, and it's just it's a big time to hang out.
We had folks driving from the West Coast, from Central Texas, from Arkansas, and I was talking to people in the bar on the Wednesday night, probably while you guys were still unloading, and people were like, "Oh man, that was such a bear of a drive. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this again." By Saturday night, they were like, "Pennsylvania next year? Oh yeah, count us in. We're there." So yeah, people just have a ball at the show. It's a great time.
Well, good deal.
We end up with a group. We've been doing this for several years now. We get 12, 13 of us, and we rent an Airbnb. We find the biggest Airbnb that we can find, and then it's basically like a frat house for 3 days. And if I had known that you guys were,
I heard some stories from last year.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about them. But if I had known that you guys were at the oyster bar, I would have had you guys come over, and we had pizza till the wee hours of the morning.
Well, we didn't know what we were doing until after midnight, so we were tired. We just wanted something to eat and go to sleep. So,
yeah.
But you live and learn, right?
Yep.
So we're looking forward to this year for sure. Now, Neil, you had a couple other things that we were going to talk about. One being the way that your judging works at an AMPS contest.
So we're a little different to some organizations in the sense that we have what we call an open judging system. So rather than having first, second, third in each category, your models are judged against a standard. So every model gets judged by a team of 4 judges. We throw away the lowest score. You get a score out of 30. If you get a particular, for example, if you're in the advanced category, 28.5 out of 30 is going to get you a gold medal. And if a dozen models in a particular category get a 28.5 or above, we're going to give out that many that many medals, I should say.
Right.
So, and the other cool thing that we have there is every model gets feedback. So each judge is going to give you a comment. So they're going to tell you what they liked. They're going to tell you what they didn't. Because our plan is, it's all about improving the modeler, making you understand what's working well for you and what's not. And And I've actually been at IPMS shows where they've actually started doing that kind of thing, at least to the sense of putting comment cards against the models, because all right, first, second, third, yeah, it works in many situations, but if you don't know why you didn't score in the top three, you're kind of blank.
Right.
So
Yeah, you can't
give
get better.
people, yeah, this is right, and it's all about trying to help people improve their skills. So that's one aspect to it that we're very proud of. Now, it doesn't necessarily scale. You can't do 5,000 models that way, but so far it's been working for us for the last 20-25 years. So yeah, until we need to change it, that's the way that we're gonna judge the models. It does get competitive when you get to best ofs, because we
Right.
have the various best of categories, and then best in show. So then obviously you're lined up against the
Right.
the other top scorers.
Well, I
But
mean, you're competing against yourself. I mean, I can
yeah,
see a situation where if I entered a model and I got what do you call the equivalent of a third place, a bronze?
yeah, bronze, silver, and
So
gold is how
if I get a
how we break it up.
bronze, well, okay, well that's cool. I want to get better and I want to get a silver next year. And then
Mhm.
if I get a silver, I want to get a gold next year. So it'll kind of
Yep.
helps you to
And
because
if-
first, second, and third, you can get first with a not great model if it's just a little bit better than the next guy. So under your judging system, I can potentially become better just competing against myself, sort of.
And in fact, there've been situations where we have not awarded a gold medal in a particular category because of
Right.
a modeler
Just
didn't
not
get
one.
get that particular score. Okay, you get a silver. That hey, that's good. But we also do basic, intermediate, and advanced. So if you get a gold in basic, next time you come back to the show, enter in the intermediate category. And the
Gotcha.
same, if you get a gold in intermediate, enter in the advanced category.
I
And then
see.
we do have master. Now, that's basically the person who wins best in show each year.
I got you. Well, talk about so my brother over here,
Yep.
he's all into the sci-fi stuff, the
So
robots,
am
the
I.
Gundam, all that. So I know that you had mentioned wanting to potentially market to that audience a little bit more for
Well,
AMPS.
absolutely. Over the past few years, I've been talking to a lot of people in the sci-fi, the gaming, the Gundam communities. Those folks are motivated. They're smart. They're really talented. They do great stuff. Some of it is not necessarily within AMPS's wheelhouse. We're not into spaceships and stuff like that. But like I said, if it walks or crawls or hovers over the ground, even if it's science fiction stuff, bring it along.
Right.
We have our category 14 is all around futuristic science fiction, fantasy type stuff. So you bring your stuff. We want to see it because frankly, a lot of that stuff is really really cool. And we've noticed that the folks who do the traditional armor modeling look at these things and go, "Wow, this is great," and they start crossing over a little bit because you got to have a palate cleanser now and again. And some of the folks who are doing the science fiction stuff look at our stuff, that more historical armor, and they go, "Yeah, that's cool. Let me try that as well." And we all share techniques and we all share ideas, and it just becomes a bigger and more vibrant community. So that's really what it's all about.
I got you. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to the show.
So am I.
Sure.
It's always a great time, and we have a great bunch of people, great bunch of models. So looking forward to seeing you guys there. Looking forward to seeing many of the audience there as well. If you can make it to Camp Hill, PA, May 15th through 17th, love to see y'all there.
Absolutely. Well, Neil, I really appreciate it.
Appreciate the chance to come talk to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we let you go, do you got anything else to leave with us before we jump into this show and tell that we've got for the evening?
No, I'm just going to take a back seat here and watch the show and tell for a while.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, feel free to hang out with us here as long as you like. And I'm going to say hello to a few people while we get started. I'm going to skip way through this fast, guys. I'm just going to give a Blanket, hello. I know that I've been looking over here at the chats and lots of questions tonight. I know, Tom, you called me earlier about the gray primer and you asked me to bring this up on the show, so I will. He had some issues spraying his gray primer. I told you I would get some paint out today and do some testing. I did. I got another ship hole out. I tried all 4 of our colors, the gray, the pink, the tan, and
The white.
oh, I can't see the white. I got these lights up here. The white's in front of the gray. No problems at all. Try to scratch it off. It doesn't. So you got something going on. I don't know what it is, but give me a call sometime next week while I'm at the shop, and I'll be more than happy to diagnose it with you the best I can over the phone. And we'll take it from there. So, lots of questions about when are we going to get certain things on pre-orders. I saw somebody asking about the Flyhawk Enterprise. I don't know when we're going to get that one. A lot of, as you guys can probably imagine at the moment, a lot of things from other parts of the world are in question at the moment. So I've got a lot of things coming. Just bear with us. We'll work it all out, and we'll get these things back up for pre-order as soon as we can. One of the biggest pre-orders that is actually in the States now. And just in case you were wondering, yes, it made it into the States before today. It's on a train somewhere between here and Los Angeles. We've got the 200 scale Fletchers are here. They've landed, and we'll have them. I don't know. I'm not a train guy, so within a week or two, I would assume. But all sorts of stuff. We know everything that's going on. We're doing the best we can, and we promise we will do our best for you. That's all I'm going to say about all the current issues. Let's see. Paints, Ed Groon, I saw your question about the order. I just flagged that to ship tomorrow. Sorry for our delays on that. All sorts of paint. These paints, the new Starship paints, this will bring us to the end of our first round of paint releases. So every Wednesday for the past several weeks, I've been giving you 5 or 10 new colors. This is it. This is all the new colors we have for round 1. Round 2 colors will be coming. I don't know. The paints are already here. They're already in bottles. We're just trying to get our labels finished up, get the artwork finished up, make sure the UPC codes, that kind of fun stuff is correct. So we'll be labeling those in the coming weeks. And then at some point in the next few weeks, I'll probably start showing you 5 or 10 paint colors again every Wednesday night. So that's the update on that. I posted the 3D tracks that we're calling Squadron tracks. These are Jeff's old SC3D designs. I posted that earlier this week, which caused a lot of questions. They're coming soon. Our intention is to unveil these and start selling them at the AMPS Nationals next month. The first batch, if you will basically be everything Jeff previously had offered in the SC3D line. There are new tracks in development that are planned, but those will be step 2. In other 3D news, things we're finally getting the ball rolling on a bunch of stuff. I get questions from time to time on the long-awaited Birds of War series. They are finally in production. Here is Shoo Shoo Baby. No, here's Lady Lil. And here is, which one is this? Little Miss Mischief, I believe. She's split into 2 sections. But these are 3D printed. They're going to come on the little supports like this, just like is kind of commonplace these days with 3D printed figures. So those, you should see those for sale sometime this month. I don't want to throw an exact date out, but these, all I got to do is put these in a box and slap a label on them, and they're ready to go. So all sorts of fun stuff finally coming. You may have seen my post yesterday on our Facebook group. If you're not a part of our Squadron Facebook group, we have a private Facebook group that is available to current customers. If you're not currently buying from us, the system's not going to let you in. It's a for us, by us group. And yesterday I made a post about these hats. Finally getting these hats going. Had a lot of people asking for them, but we should have these again sometime this month. We're going to have camouflage ones. We're going to have black ones like Jeff's wearing. And then, as per my dad's request, Russ, we are also going to have what they refer to these days as a dad cap. It's not a mesh back like these trucker hats. It's a standard ball cap, if you will. And those are going to be available in black and hopefully camouflage as well. So all sorts of things we've been talking about. Yeah, there you go. That's a dad cap.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
It'll
dad
be
cap.
something like that. All sorts of cool stuff coming. So that's kind of what I've got for now as far as new things, coming soon things, all of the pre-order availability, pricing, all that stuff's in the air. We'll get it sorted out as quickly as possible. I know everybody's wondering about that. And Dennis says, is that the Normandy behind me? Yes, this is, where is it at? Right there. Man, it's hard to point backward. That's our old Blue Ridge Models 700 scale Normandy kit. And all of the old Blue Ridge stuff, I've been pulling things out of the stash. There's the Comstock right next to it. I've been pulling stuff out of the stash to compare what we physically released years ago, compare that to the 3D files that we still have, and funnel that stuff through Jeff, the mastermind of the 3D world. And the intention is to get these things back into production. So, several weeks ago, somebody started pointing out things in my background. So as we get things starting to tease them, if you will, you might start seeing little Easter eggs behind me on Wednesday nights. So that's what I've got for now before we jump into this show and tell. But I'm going to jump into it right now. Here we go. So, Jared, these first few things, Jared, are kind of right up your alley, I believe. And this was done by Mad Genius Productions. He sent this over. He said this is approximately 1/10 scale. He didn't have exactly the scale that it was, but this is Raphael.
Yes,
from
remember
the
seeing
Ninja
that one on
Turtles.
the Facebook page. That is very cool.
Oh yeah, it's neat. And you're a Ninja Turtle fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah, and I think I remember him saying Raphael was his favorite. He was my favorite too, so got that in
Okay.
common.
Well, and of course, this is a bust, if you will. It's not the full figure, but he's done a pretty good job on this guy. I'm going to make us disappear in the background. I can still hear you, though. Or I think I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Oh, man. So you see a lot more of this kind of stuff these days with 3D printing. It's a lot easier to do things that you may not have traditionally seen. So certainly done a great job with this guy. Now we need to see the other three turtles. So looking forward to maybe seeing those on a future show and tell from you, buddy. All right, well, next up, Jared, we've got you. So you take the wheel here. Tell us what we're looking.
All right, so this is the new Border Models 1/12 scale Tesla Trooper from the Red Alert games. It was
You got that box right behind you, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I'll bring that forward. Very cool box. They had I don't know if you can really tell, but this part's kind of shiny like it's electric. So very cool stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it just goes together. No paint, no glue required. So really easy build. Only took me about a total of maybe 4 hours to get together.
There you go.
The one thing that if you do decide to go for it, make sure you're careful when you get to the park that has magnets. I dropped one on the floor and it took me about 20 minutes to find it.
The good old carpet monster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you got some different options here for opening and closing. I think, yeah, right there. You got different heads and arms or hands.
Right. And it does come with a lighting kit. So his little forearm gun there, it flashes on and off when you get it going.
Yeah. So this is really kind of, going back to what Neil was talking about on the Gundam kind of stuff. This is really kind of what those kits are like. They're pre-painted. They basically snap together, and You know, a lot of the younger guys these days, the kids are really getting into this kind of thing. It's a perhaps a gateway into, you know, a full-on model kit that you've got to glue and paint and all that kind of stuff. So very cool. Now you up here, this was supposed to be a video of his arm flashing, but that didn't work out. I don't know why this program doesn't utilize the videos, but anyway, yeah, that looks cool. It's very neat. Now this is yours too. So tell us what we've got here. This is a Bandai kit.
Yeah, that one was actually the first kit that I ever finished.
All right.
But yeah, it's Asuna from Sword Art Online, which was an anime that me and one of my best friends watched together, and found it one day, decided to put it together, and it's a lot of fun. She comes with a couple different faces and hands as well, and then she's got a version of her sword that goes into the sheath if you want it to. So,
all right.
Stuff.
Well, there you go, guys. If you got some kids or grandkids and you want to get them into some modeling, there are some pre-painted, snap-together kits that turn out pretty nice. All right, so this is built by Q, and this is the old Fine Molds 172 scale X-Wing. Now, Jeff, you know a little bit about the Star Wars stuff. You've done some of this, so
Yep.
This is kind of your speed. Of course, I mean, mine and Jared's too, but I haven't built any of this stuff myself.
The Incom T-65 X-Wing fighter.
There you go.
The only reason I remember that is they used to have it on what was it, the old TIE Fighter X-Wing video game, and I played that when one of the very first video games that I actually played as a kid. And I remember that narrator coming on, because you would hover over the ship that you wanted to fly in the game, and that Star Wars voice would come up, the narrator, and he would tell you what you had. But yeah, this looks like Red 1 from A New Hope. And for those who don't know, you can always tell the stripes on the wings are obviously red, and this particular only has one single red stripe on the trailing edge, so that makes it Red 1. Luke Skywalker's was Red 5, and it had 5 of those little hash marks coming off the red mark on the back of the wing. So that's how you can tell what squadron they belong to.
There you go. See, you learn something new every day.
Little
Very cool
piece of useless Star Wars trivia.
Yeah, and these first few tonight, guys, these are all sitting in our case up at the new shop. So anybody that's in the area, if you've got models that you would like to display at Squadron, shoot me an email, let me know what you got, and we'll make sure we have space for you. That's the retail shop. That's what it's all about. It's supposed to be we call it a retail store. We call it a Squadron museum. We're working on all sorts of memorabilia, and we also want it to be a tribute to all you guys and all these models that we build. And it's a lot of fun to see everybody's work. So this is Tom Gaston's one of his kits that's in the shop right now. This is the 35th scale, I believe. Didn't a Tallery make this kit, if I remember?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, Meale.
Do we still have these, Jared?
I couldn't say for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's still in production.
It
doesn't come with this base, I don't think. Tom must have added that.
Yeah, he said he built that himself.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, but this is kind of a cool little kit. The Tallery does a few 35th scale boat and naval subjects, PT boat, Schnell boat, couple of little craft like this. All right, good deal. Now this next one is also Tom's work, going back to Star Wars land here. Didn't Tom say he forgot what scale this was, Jared?
I believe so. He said it was somewhere around the 125th scale.
He might be right. I thought it was closer to 48 scale, but whatever. You can't tell in these pictures anyway. It just looks like a nice model as far as the pictures go.
24th would make it studio scale, and that would be a really big model.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to get the tape measure out on it at the shop sometime. Yeah, because he said this is an old kit. But nonetheless, looks good. Yeah, Ken says if it's the Bandai kit, it's supposed to be 48 scale. But considering how old
AMT did
Yeah.
one, didn't they?
AMT did one, that's probably what this is, considering how old Tom said this particular build is.
Yeah, he said this was the MPC kit
Oh,
Ah.
okay.
from the 80s.
Okay.
If
Gotcha.
that rings a bell to
That
anybody.
I think that puts it somewhere in 32nd scale
Right.
or thereabouts.
Oh, there we are. That was the end of the first slide. We got several slides tonight. So let's jump in here and see what Ed Groon's got for us. I like
Ooh.
how Ed always gives me a pre-made slideshow. And the
Ed
fun
did a
part about
batch.
Ed's pre-made slideshows is I actually don't look at them before I show them off. So thankfully I trust Ed. You know, he could really set me up. Throw something in here I'm not expecting. But let's see what he's got. QH-50C dash drone anti-submarine helicopter. All right. Good old Shapeways 3D print in 72 scale. Got us a little history of the subject matter here.
Yep.
Let you guys read that for a second. I guess this is a picture of the real one here on the right.
That is
All right. Say it again, Jeff.
very, very cool.
Okay. So these were printed on a wafer, he says. That's fun. Tail boom parts and landing skids. Nice feature. Wire dimensions, supplemental information on a builder supplied part sprue. Okay. And there's his model. Cut off the printed exhaust cans and replaced them with aluminum tube. All right. Sockets for the landing legs, tail boom, and rotor pieces were drilled out for a secure fit. Landing legs and boom are super glued. Didn't want to deal with solder around the 3D pieces. I do not blame you. There you go. Wow. All right. Looking at this picture, I thought it was, a decent size. I didn't really know. And now seeing it sitting next to the coin, that's a tiny little thing. Wow. Okay. That's cool.
Very cool.
For those who don't know, these were used on post-war Sumners and Gearings and Forrest Sherman class, a lot of the Fram destroyers, a lot of the World War II destroyers that were modernized, and they flew these off the backs of those destroyers for added anti-submarine capabilities.
Wow.
If
Yeah,
you ever
it's
see
interesting.
war destroyer, and the smaller ones, not the big ones that have the full-size helicopters on them, but if you ever see the Gearings and and they have that hanger on the back, that's because it fit the dash. It was for the dash.
Okay. All right. Well, Ed, thank you for showing this to us this evening. That's very cool. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that. All right. Next up, let's pull up this. All right. Going back to Mad Genius Productions. I don't know why I didn't get this one put right in line after his Ninja Turtle, but oh well, here we are. So he calls this Second Thoughts, which is built around a 35th scale M8 Greyhound from Tamiya. Let's dive into this and check it out.
Wow.
Yeah, as you guys will see as we go through the rest of these slides tonight, the photography from everybody keeps getting better and better each month, and it's it's really neat to see this stuff. So
Customers are really up in their game here.
there you go. Danger. If you want to live, stop.
I built the Tamiya kit of the M8 a number of years ago, and it was a great kit to build, just hassle free.
Really?
Typical Tamiya armor, you know.
Right. Yeah, he's done a good job here. All the goodies he's added to the top of it, and the figures is just a nice look. And this is the last look at it, guys. So I appreciate you sending this one in. Looking forward to seeing what else you come up with in the future. All right. So talking about interesting model kit photography, this is Bruce. He has built this Panther, again, a Tamiya kit, and he started playing around with different background scenes to drop his model photography into. So kind of interesting. I think it looks neat. And here's the kit itself. Yeah, and those pictures that he took, those were, or the background, those are actual pictures that he took himself. He didn't grab those off the internet somewhere. He actually took those photos with the intent of using them as model kit backgrounds.
Very cool.
Yeah. There's that same picture again.
That's wild.
You like that?
Mm-hmm.
He's got two more pictures with different backgrounds coming up here next. And then finishing this one out with this picture here. So very neat, cool ideas. Oh, I think we got one more actually. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, very cool. So keep up the good work, buddy.
Yeah,
Very interesting to see this kind of work. All right. All right, James has sent us one, and if you notice in the red letters here, this was painted with the Squadron Scale Colors paint, which I guess I'm going to point that out anytime you guys send the show and tell stuff in, and you tell me that's what you used. I'm going to point it out because it's kind of my thing now. I like for you guys to know when it's been used. But this is 32 scale. This is Special Hobby. And I guess he's got some kind of background going on too, because it's kind of neat looking.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of old hangar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very neat when you slide these backgrounds in. Okay, next month everybody's going to be throwing backgrounds in. Hey, but you know, the more the merrier. It's very cool.
It ups the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And next thing, we're going to be printing backgrounds and building a box around our models to display at the shows.
Hey,
You
some
see
people
that from
already
time
do
to
that.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was going to say, you see it from time to time.
Those are always neat to look at.
One of the, getting a little off topic with that, but one of the coolest ones that I ever saw was a gentleman named Frank Bear up in Plattsburgh, New York.
Okay.
And you guys remember that famous photo from Pearl Harbor of the B-17 that had burned, and it's just the front half is just laying on the runway.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's a black and white photo. He took the photo and photoshopped out the airplane, so all you could see was the hangars, and then he made the model of the airplane, but he painted it in grayscale and then laid it down, so it was a three-dimensional black and white photo.
Wow.
That's
and
cool.
when you looked at it, it just blew your mind, because you're looking at the actual model. He did it in 72nd scale.
That's neat.
And then the background was the photo less the airplane. He photoshopped out the airplane.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, just some wild stuff that these guys think of.
All right. Well, Ricky Gates has done a 72 scale A5M2 Claude. This is the Hobby Boss kit. So let's check this thing out. This is so earlier today. This reminds me. Earlier today, I was talking with Jan Bobek from Edward. I had him on. We were recording a video together, and he was telling us all about their new Zero kit, the Kamikaze set. And man, Jan knows his history about the Kamikaze and that whole campaign, and hearing some of the things that he has learned and found out is kind of crazy. So just seeing this brings back some of the stories he was telling me earlier today. So I'll have that video posted up maybe after this weekend. But this is a nice job on this. You know, sometimes it's hard to make these itty bitty planes, 72 scale, look good. But you've done a very nice job. If you didn't tell me it was 72 scale, you might not even know. Those little cockpits on 72 scale planes are just crazy small.
Yeah. Sorry, I get close to the camera because I'm looking at the screen.
Let's see what Bill Davis has sent us tonight. Just like Ed, he sent me a PDF, and I actually did open his because I was trying to look for some pictures to make the thumbnail for tonight, and I grabbed the island off of one of his carriers in this, but still, I didn't look at it very much. I don't know why it's not getting bigger, but oh well, I'll leave this on the screen since it's not getting any bigger. 700 scale, talking about little bitty things. This is his Saratoga Tamiya using the Pontos upgrade set, and looky scale color paints.
Measure 21.
There you go. So, yeah, a full out detail carrier like this in 700 scale, knowing what the Pontos set includes, just the hours it must have taken to get this to the finish line. Nope. And that was it for that one. Saratoga. All right. Well, good job on the Saratoga. Let's see what else you've got in here. This is the one I robbed your picture for the thumbnail. So this is Magic Factory's new Gerald R. Ford kit, which came out not too terribly many months ago. So it's cool to see this already completed and put together. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that, buddy. Those what?
I might that's enough motivation for me to break one out. The Gerald Ford, it might be Kitty Hawk, but
yeah,
I think I might break the 700 scale carrier now. Well,
you know, a 700 scale carrier is not that small, especially one like a Ford or, like you said, a Kitty Hawk.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good size. It's in 350 scale, they're just ridiculously large.
Right.
You know, in 700 scale, they're kind of normal. They're still, the airplanes on them are tiny, you know, but.
Come on, you're talking to a guy that builds 16th scale armor and 200 scale ships.
Well, in that case, it is extremely tiny. All right, up next, we've got Ricky again, and this is a 72 scale BF 110. He has added the cockpit and gunner details. And again, anytime you get to super detail in these small scale kits, it's just pretty cool.
I love 72nd scale. I had
Yeah.
to stop building it because I couldn't see it. And I think that's the logical progression. I think as kids, we all started out building 72nd scale because you could get them cheap and they'd go together fast. And then we got a little older and we decided 48 scale was where it's at. And then we got to the point where we couldn't see 48 scale, so we started with 32nd scale. I think it's just a natural progression.
So what are you saying? We're going to see a lot of new releases in 24 scale over the next few years?
More than likely, either that or Optivisor sales are going to go through the roof.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, good deal. This looks great. That's
Nicely done.
and get a good view of the underside as well here.
Very nice.
I like his plastic cups there that he's using to hold it. That's good. Whatever works, right? All right, and same builder, Ricky. This is his FM2 Wildcat, also in 72 scale. I'm starting to see a pattern here, Ricky. You like your 72 scale planes? Ricky says, I built 72 scale because I don't have display space for bigger sizes. I forget the guy's name, but we had a ship customer, and he's still a ship customer. I hadn't talked to him in a while, and his name is escaping me. You would know him, Jeff, and Jared, you would remember him. His name's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, he builds 700 scale. He has the space for whatever scale he wants, but his logic is he builds 700 scale so he can fit more of them in, and he actually finishes more kits than like everybody else I know combined. He sent me a picture of his built collection one time, and I'm telling you, he had more finished kits in his it's not little, in his big space than we have kits in our retail store. It was nuts, and it was all 700 scale ships.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's take a look at his Wildcat here.
Yeah, Ron, I think you're right. I think it may be Bill Arito. I know Bill's got a massive collection of 700 scale stuff.
I know, Bill. I don't think that's who sent me that picture. And if he happens to see this, and it was him, whoever it is going to send me that picture again and say, it was me, Brandon. How'd you forget?
Now, Bill is legendary in the 700 scale world for just the kits that his unbuilt as well as his built up collection.
Russ is in the back end hanging out with us too. He just texted me or messaged me. He said, the guy that I'm talking about worked at a fire station. He was there you go. Dad says his name is Brad Barker.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. Yep.
I just couldn't. I'm sorry, Brad. Sorry, man. I can't believe I forgot. But yeah. And that's right, Dad. He was, he built his models at the fire station while he was on call, while he was, waiting on a call. So that's how he got so many things built.
Yeah, you're right. I do remember now that you mention it.
All right. Yeah, look at that cockpit in there. Man, that's tiny. It looks good, though. Yeah, Dad just reminded me that Brad told us that at one time he had over 800 kits built. And that was probably that picture he sent me that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. All right, moving right on along to Derek. This is a 35th scale Zvezda kit. Don't see many of these in the show and tell, so that's cool. This is an SU-152. Hand-drawn stencils, he says. Did he say this was 35th scale? Yeah, okay, 35th scale. That's a funky looking tank.
With a really big, mean gun.
Oh, it does. I know they got it all figured out, but it just looks like it would tip over on the front.
This was one of those tanks that no matter what German tank you were in, even if you were in a King Tiger, you feared this tank because that 152 millimeter gun could kill anything. And even if it didn't punch a hole, just the blunt force trauma of a shell that big hitting your tank.
Yeah. And there you go. There's the box art.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a box art guy. I like seeing that stuff.
They did some interesting subjects that were for the most part unnoticed. I did an IS-2 from Zvezda, and I remember I picked it up really cheap at a model show or something like that, and I was surprised at how nice it went together. It was a good little build.
Right.
It's kind of surprising that they've kind of had a resurgence in probably the last 4 or 5 years where they're a little more mainstream. But back when that kit was released, and probably right around the time that I picked up the one that I had, it was they were almost like hidden gems.
Right.
You could pick them up dirt cheap, but they were really nice kits.
Well, going back to really tiny things, this is Henry West's 700 scale BF 109s over the Atlantic. And he's getting into a little bit of sprue stretching. And he made a note in his email to me that the Squadron high precision sprue cutters are a must for working in this scale. So
when you consider that the wingspan on that airplane is probably about, I don't know, let's see here. Inches, it's probably maybe a half an inch.
Yeah, you can't really get a feel for scale looking at a picture like this. I have no idea why that is sideways. I'm very sorry about that. Well, I guess we'll just say he's shooting straight to the sky right now.
God, that's tiny.
Yeah, there you go. There's your picture for scale, sitting next to a coin.
And he put the antenna wires on them.
Yep.
Wow, that's something else.
Well, Jared, you said you weren't really up to the task of any of the military kits yet. I mean, come on, why not? This looks like you could probably work in that size, can't you?
Yeah, totally. I don't even know if I could see that without the optivisor.
Like Jeff said, optivisor cells going through the roof. Well, this is really neat. You don't often see, you see 700 scale planes all the time on carriers, but very rarely is it the center focus of a model, so this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got a lot going on just with his panel lines and the washes and the decals and everything. I mean, he went to town on this as if it were a larger scale thing, so that's very cool. Very neat. I don't like how that makes us disappear every time I close the the PowerPoint. Oh man, moving right along. Next we've got Michael Fuller, and this is an interesting one, Jeff, and you might need to tell us a little bit about what's going on here. So last week when we had your buddy from the EAA Museum on, y'all got into talking a little bit about the Hellhawks diorama up there, and this is apparently going to be a part of that, but take the lead on this one because I'm kind of clueless.
Well, I can take credit and blame for this idea. A couple of years back, I've been, as you know, I've been friends with Chris Henry for 20 years now, and in the EAA museum, there's a large glass display case that has a 1/144th scale, and it may be even smaller than that, B-17 airfield, and it's pretty dated. It's getting long in the tooth, and models are broken and things of that nature. And I said, we should probably do something a little bigger and a little more substantial. And he said, well, what do you have in mind? Well, we decided that we were going to do a group build for the IPMS National Convention. And we came to the conclusion that we were going to do the group build and then segue those models into a diorama for the EAA museum. Well, what started out as a runway with a lineup of P-47s has now turned into basically a 8-foot wide by 14-foot long 48 scale P-47 fighter bomber base, complete with, as you can see, Michael's full-on aircraft hangar.
Yeah, that's large.
And this is all scratch built. He is scratch building this entire hangar. It's going
to be kind of impressive.
It's mind boggling. The project has run long. We were hoping to get it done last fall, after the IPMS National Convention was done, but everyone was behind on their respective parts and pieces. And so we're hoping that we have it done this calendar year. There we go with that again.
Yeah.
And
well, he said that's a 48 scale monogram B-17 just sitting there just to give you guys a sense of scale of how big this hangar is.
Yeah, that I think that hangar is probably 3.5 by 3.5 feet.
Wow.
Well, there's a bottle of Zip Kicker over in the corner to give you a scale perspective.
Yep. All right. Well, we will look forward to seeing future progress on this project. That'll be kind of a showstopper when that's done.
Mm-hmm.
It already is.
There you go. And this is not cool. The P-51 is missing from this image, but there it is. So this is Mark McConnell's P-51D from Hasegawa. And I didn't mention a scale, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's 48 scale.
That could be 32nd.
Yeah.
Hasegawa is pretty well known for their 32nd scale P-51.
That is true. It can't be 72 scale, though, I don't think. Yeah, this is nice.
Shiny.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with some of my pictures tonight. Huh. There's a nice cockpit detailing in there, too. Very cool. All right. And up next, Mark's ME-163. Oh, man, this is not cool. I am so sorry, Mark. Here we go. There's a good shot of it. These are always cool-looking planes to me. But, I mean, you know me. I'm into weird German stuff, so this is kind of fits the bill.
Mark says they're 48 scale.
Okay.
There we go.
Very cool, Mark. Thank you. If you included that in your email to me, I apologize for missing that little detail. All right. Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate you sending those in. Next, we've got Carlos. He has sent us a 1/35th scale Tamiya kit, an M60. So let's check this thing out. Yeah, it looks nice. Nice little base there. It's always interesting to see how different modelers do their bases. And I mean, a lot of times you get similar ground effects or grass or dirt or whatever it is, but it's always interesting the shape that people decide to cut their bases out of.
You nailed that finish.
Yeah, that is
Your chipping is spot on.
very nice.
Mm.
I really like this picture. It just looks
Yeah.
good.
It does.
All right. Well, let's see who else we've got in here tonight. So Randy Harvey has sent us a few. These are all, I think he sent 3 or 4 different kits, 1 picture each, like Randy usually does. So this is his 35th scale Horch Command car, old tester's kit. Sticking with the old tester stuff, got a Panzer here. One of these little guys.
Yeah, those were the old Peerless Max kits from the late 60s and the early 70s.
Yeah.
Italyrian testers bought up most of the molds. They were great little kits in the day.
Okay. Well, he's certainly done a good job with them here.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
He calls this one I Dare Ya. All right. I'm just sitting here. You guys can read this if you like. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good example of picking the correct name for your little diorama or vignette.
A ping pong ball.
Yeah.
You know, that is one thing that I have to say about modelers in general. They know how to be creative. Yep. Bernard just nailed it.
Mm.
Awesome. All right, and this is a Master Box kit, 35th scale. And Master Box does a lot of this kind of stuff, civilian scenes and whatnot. Thanks a lot, chicken. Or nice shot, chicken.
Oh,
Oh, I see it now.
Ah.
there
Okay.
you go.
Yep. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it yet, look on the handle of the wagon, and you'll understand the name of this diorama. Thanks a lot, chicken.
You probably had chicken for dinner that night.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for sharing those. Moving along, this is David Kidd. He has sent a collection to us of about 6 different kits. I think there are 1 picture of each. So I'm going to call out what we're going to be looking at, and then we're going to go through them. So he's got an M113 from Tamiya. He's got a Revell Mariner. He's got a 700 scale hood from Tamiya. He's got the good old PT-109 from Revell. A C-47 from Academy in super small scale of 144. He's got the Nike missile from Atlantis. And rounding it out with a spacecraft, the Martian spacecraft from Pegasus. So let's take a look at all this that David's done. And Jeff, we've got Jerry Hendrickson up in your
Hey,
neck.
yep. Hi, Jerry. How you doing?
You and all
Jerry.
your Wisconsin buddies up there.
Yep, yep. I know Jerry. Jerry was one of our first Scale Colors customers way back in the day.
There you go. Got all sorts of different, hitting on different categories with this collection here.
Mm-hmm. Very well rounded.
Mm-hmm. These planes with the skis are always just fun to me. It's like, getting back to the 700 scale stuff. Hey, Jose. Good to see you tonight, buddy. You have not missed your show and tell entries yet. That's coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Good to see you tonight. Coming to us from another part of the world, so glad you tuned in.
There's an airplane I'd like to see in 30-second scale.
Yeah. That would be it's a very funky shape.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about it's just wacky. But your model looks good here. Russ says he's working on a hood. Good deal. All right, we'll round this collection out here. Very cool. Thank you for sharing those. And we've got one more slide full of pictures, and this is the biggest one yet. I mean, it's about the same, but I think there's a few more in there. It only lets me upload a 50 meg PowerPoint at the time, so I have to cut these things up into multiple uploads, I guess. But this is going to be from Leonard, and these are mostly 200 millimeter. He's got a couple of 1/6 scale stuff in here, sculpted by Ron Tennyson. So let's check these out.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're a figure modeler, you're going to get your figure model fix here over the next few slides. He's done a really good job on these.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, it's always really cool to me to see this type of stuff, these figures, when we go to that figure show down in Atlanta each year that we went to a few weeks ago, Jared.
Oh yeah.
It's full of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, they have tables and tables full of them. Always neat to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, up here we have MMSI in Chicago,
Okay.
which is one of the premier figure shows in the world, actually.
Wow.
And then there's Valley Forge out in Pennsylvania that has a phenomenal figure show. NJHMA, the New Jersey Historical Miniatures Association, and then there's a figure club out in Long Island as well. That this is the type of stuff they do.
Wow.
Phenomenal. Oh, Colonel Chamberlain, Joshua Chamberlain.
I think that he said this is one of them that's 1/6 scale.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way he's taking his pictures, it's hard to tell which ones are the larger ones.
To answer your question, Darren, Jeff is working on a 1/200 scale Arleigh Burke guided missile destroyer at present.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that done.
Well, the rearranging of the shop kind of put it on on hiatus for a little while. So Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson.
His horses look great.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Look at-
Dapple.
Look at Lee's horse. That I want to call it a camo pattern, but I guess it's not a camo pattern on a horse.
That's is that Traveler? I think that may be Traveler.
Wow.
You Civil War experts will have to chime in, but
Right.
I think Robert E. Lee's horse was named Traveler.
Okay.
And the only reason I know that is I watched Gettysburg a few weeks ago. That's the only reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get up to speed on my Civil War history, considering where we have just moved to.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. It happened literally in your backyard.
Yeah. Yep.
You ever wondered about that? I mean, I remember when I went down to visit you, and I'm standing out there and I'm looking out at that little valley out towards the back there, and I'm thinking, I wonder how many, divisions of Union or Confederate infantry walked right over this space.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are literally right on the border of the battlefield.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean the which cavalry is it? Is it the 9th Cavalry? Whichever one it is. They're the original horse stables are like 5 miles from my house.
Mm-hmm.
All of them aren't still there, but there's 1 or 2, maybe 3 original ones that are still there. One of them they use now in the wintertime. They set up an ice skating rink inside of it. But yeah, all that's, I mean, it's literally right here.
Yeah. Oh.
Changing
Napoleon.
up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like this guy's work.
Oh yeah.
It's
He-
very impressive.
Yeah, he just sent these over to me just a couple of days ago. He didn't realize we did this show and tell, so he was happy to be a part. So, and actually, the way that he found the way he found out about us was through that new Memphis Belle figure that we did, because as you will see in this next one, he is also a Roberto von Behr sculpt fan.
You're one of your favorites.
Yeah, and of course, Roberto's the guy that sculpted Memphis Belle, and Roberto also sculpted this figure for Garage Kits USA. And the name of this was part of a 4-figure series, all named after the seasons, and this one is Winter.
Very
So that's how Leonard found us. So looking forward to seeing more of your work, buddy. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Okay, I was right. Crispy Rice's Mellifluous Sonic Chamber says that Lee's horse's name was Traveler, and Jackson's horse was named Little Sorrel.
All right. Well, there you go. There they are at the end then. Well, very cool. We're going to move right along, and here you go, Jose. So this is his submission for this month, HE-162. This is the old Dragon kit. You don't often see Dragon kits that aren't armor or at least ships, but they do make a few airplanes, and this is one of them. So let's take. He's got 2 or 3 pictures of this, so let's check it out.
Very nicely done.
Yeah, I like this. I don't even want to talk. I just want to look at it.
it got awkwardly quiet in here for a few minutes. Everybody's just staring at the screen.
I know. I'm like, oh, whoa, we're not saying anything. We got to say something. I just like looking.
We can blame it on your internet connection. But.
Well, yeah, I
There
guess.
we go.
Sometimes models just speak for themselves, you know?
Yep.
That detail there is very well done.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a small airplane. I mean, even in 1-to-1 scale, it's a small airplane.
Really?
48th scale, this is not much bigger than a 72nd scale P47 or P51.
Well, he makes it look huge here.
Yep.
This is the last look at this one for tonight. So take it in. All right, Jose. Well, thank you for sending that. Look forward to what you've got for us next time. All right, and this is Russ Cantor's KI 109. So let's take a look at this. He's got a couple pictures of this, and then he's got a couple pictures of it sitting in a line with all of his other kits that he's built, which is pretty impressive. I love all these planes with these the spots and the lines and the squigglies and everything else on them. It's just always makes it look like you spend so much time doing it, but it just looks like it was a never-ending project. Kind of like that one you've got sitting in our case here at the shop, Jeff. It looks like it was a never-ending project for you.
Oh, the Ju-88 Night Fighter.
Yeah, just anything like that. This got the lines, or in this case, the dots on it, or just there you go. Look, half of his collection is like that. Just all sorts of camo lines and patterns and whatnot. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I've always liked to see those. They look so cool.
Yeah, that's it's a pretty impressive lineup there, buddy. And over there in the background, he's got another bookcase full of built-up kits too.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
and
underneath,
and underneath stuff is.
I wonder what the ceiling looks like.
There's a Zwilling in the background there.
Very cool. This was another guy that just recently got in touch with me this week that didn't know about the show. So more and more people are finding out about this and sending in some really good work. So it's a lot of fun. Well, good deal. Well, I look forward to seeing more of your builds. Looks like you've got a lot of them. So hopefully you'll be sharing more with us in the future.
Oh, he just said he's got 4 sets of shelves.
Oh, he's with us tonight. There you are, Russ. 4 sets of shelves. Well, you'll have to give us a walkthrough sometime so we can see all your collection. That's very cool.
Nope. Who's this guy?
Yeah, I don't know why Russ is in here twice, but there we go. Yeah, this is you, Jeff. This is your 32 scale KI 44.
Yep, Mishoki.
Yeah. All right.
So this was a holiday build last year. In fact, I think Darren Cook, who's in the chat group, he was part of this. We all got together and said, let's build something in a weekend. And so I started this kit on a Friday afternoon and finished it on a Sunday evening. And it's 32nd scale. It's the Hasegawa kit. And no decals. It's all done with paint and masking tape. And one of their better kits. I don't know. It's not as popular as the Zeros and the Tonys and the Franks, but it's a great little kit. It was an easy build. There's no malice in this kit. I didn't have to fight with it at all, which was fortunate. But yeah, this model was built in basically 2.5 days.
Yeah. Not me.
Yeah. And yes, there was alcohol involved and, long hours. And, it wasn't just an hour here and an hour there. No, we pulled some serious all night build sessions when we.
Now, were y'all, was your build session like y'all were together, or was it everybody was at their own house, or?
Oh, well, it was everything. Actually, we had a couple of guys that were in person. And then we had a bunch of cams set up, and we were on our Discord channel, and we were all just sitting around building and hacking.
Well, that's kind of cool. That's
and this was primed with flat black, and then Alclad 2 over the top of that. You buff the flat black out with a like those little scrubbing pads that you use for stuff on dishes. What do they call it? Like a Brillo pad.
Yeah.
And you take the flat black paint and you kind of polish it out. And then you put your Alclad over in extremely light coats at very, very low air pressure. And then while the paint was drying, I worked on the engine and the landing gear and all the small bits. And then Sunday morning, I got up and I masked the white areas on the wings and the roundels and sprayed everything. And by Sunday evening, I was doing some chipping and putting the antenna wire on.
Nice. So you used Alclad for the metal. I'm assuming you used scale colors for everything else.
Absolutely.
I figured. I'd be a little disappointed if you said no.
No.
All right. So up next, you got 32 scale P40E.
Yep.
Tell us what we're looking at here.
This again is 32nd scale. It's the Hasegawa kit. Hasegawa aircraft kits to me are, especially some of their more recent releases, anything after their 109 G6 that they did probably 2004, 2005. All of their 32nd scale aircraft kits are just, I don't know who's doing the engineering for them, but they're just spectacular. They go together well. They don't fight. Everything fits. And I had this P40, and I had gotten it at a swap meet. And when I opened it up, there were no decals in the kit. So somebody had, and it was a new kit, relatively new kit. So someone had got the kit, taken the decals out of it. So because the bag was cut, and so I said, all right, well, let's see what we can do. So I went out and did some searching and found a set of Montex masks for the second operational training unit to OTU in Mildura, Australia. Is that a gluey thumbprint on the canopy? No, that is not a gluey thumbprint on the canopy. You're probably seeing a reflection. It might be dust, but no, there's no gluey thumbprints on the canopy, Russell.
There might be.
No,
I'm just.
No, I'll go get the model and look at it right now. There is no gluey thumbprint. It's actually right behind me on the shelf here. So
is the back? So is that? And forgive me for, I'm just looking at the picture. Is it gray or is it?
It's white,
metallic, or okay.
Oh no, the aircraft is natural metal.
Okay,
and
is the tail white?
The tail is white. Yeah.
Okay, it's throwing me off. I can't, because you got a red line between the two. So it's very cool looking. I hadn't seen anything like this. So it's a training unit.
Yeah, it was an operational training unit. So basically, what would happen, and it was based in Northern Australia, and they were kind of the last line of defense. They were a training unit, but if the Japanese had managed to get further south, they were no longer, you were no longer a training unit. You were thrown into the fight.
Okay.
But yeah, those were guys that were just getting their final hours in before they get sent to operational forward units.
Well, that's cool. That's an interesting looking.
I wanted to do something different with it, and I was in an Alclad kick because this one happened right after the KI-44.
Right.
So I was still into shiny metal airplanes.
If your goal was to do something different, you succeeded. That's really cool. And this is actually going to be our last show and tell for the evening. So this again is yours. So what are we looking at here? E25 from Trumpeter.
Trumpeter E25. It's weird because I'm a ship modeler, naval historian by trade. I build 32nd scale aircraft because I like airplanes, but then I'll get on these crazy kicks and I'll go and I'll do armor for, in this case, the last 4 or 5 years. And this was a kit that I saw when it first came out. I thought, wow, it's really cool. It's kind of like a Hetzer on steroids. And I picked it up at a show, and it was a fun little quick build. Because it's a paper project, a paper Panzer, you can do anything you want with it. Nobody's going to argue because the tank never existed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I know some of the E projects, they had, hulls that were being built and whatnot when the war ended. But
Right.
other than the E100, I don't think any of them ever managed to actually be built. It's certainly not used. So I just said, okay, this is just let your imagination flow and do what you do. So
maybe that's why I like the what if stuff so much, because nobody can tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
and I liked it because it had a real low profile. It was kind of sleek. And if any of you have ever played the video game World of Tanks, they have the E25 in the game, and it's basically like a giant go-kart with a 75 millimeter gun. You run around the battlefield, and it goes like a bat out of hell, and then whatever you can't shoot, you can run away from. So,
oh gosh. Oh, that's just saw Russ. Okay. Ha. He says he asks every aircraft modeler that question.
yeah. Well, at this point in my career, no, I can't. I can't have
any fingerprints, can you?
No gluey thumbprints on the canopies.
Jared, remind me tomorrow to go to the display case and put a thumbprint on his aircraft and take a picture of it and send it to him.
Will do.
He's all the way in Wisconsin. He can't get me.
I'll get in the car and come down and see you.
Well, this was cool and fun, guys. That was neat having Neil on here. Just so you guys know, next Wednesday night, I've got another guest coming on that is going to talk to us about Wonderfest, and his name is Dave Hodge. He is the Wonderfest isn't a organization like IPMS or AMPS, so I guess he's the chairman of Wonderfest. I don't know. He's the big guy in charge. He's the one that puts it on. He's the one that started it. It's Wonderfest is his gig. So he's going to be with us next week to talk about what you can expect at Wonderfest. So that'll be fun. And then, Jeff, who do we have the week after next?
I reached out to Tom Jett, who is the chairman of the 2025 IPMS National Convention in Hampton Roads, Virginia.
Good deal.
So we'll see if we can get him on the schedule. Otherwise, I've got a bunch of people in the queue that I can call.
Oh, yeah.
And I got a lot of museum guys and industry guys. Yeah.
Well, these next couple of weeks, it's all about the upcoming shows. We talk about it all the time, so I figured why not hear from the man behind the curtain.
Speaking of upcoming shows, this coming weekend, I will be in Indianapolis, Indiana, for the IPMS Roscoe Turner show.
Okay.
Phenomenal show. They have an extremely large turnout. I think they average somewhere between 700 and 800 models on the table.
Wow.
For a one-day show. So if anyone's in the Indy area, stop by. I'll be wandering around, look for the hat, and say hello.
All right. Well, Jared and I will be at the shop here in Ringgold. So if anybody is in the area, we are officially open now. Our hours in the retail store are Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. If you need anything different than that or whatever, just email me. I've got a few of you that have asked about coming that are a little further away than I would consider local. So if you're going to make a special trip, if you're going to drive, more than the immediate area, please email me or call me first, because even though we are saying we're open Monday through Friday, we do go to shows. things do come up. Sometimes shipments come in, and so things happen. So if you're planning on driving a good ways, just give me a call first. Make sure we don't have anything out of the ordinary. I'd hate for somebody to, drive 2 or 3 hours and find out that we're, gone to Wonderfest or something. So just keep that in mind. And that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Jared, how many of those kits behind you are you going to have built soon?
That's a great question. As many as I can. We'll go with that.
Yeah, well,
we got Wonderfest coming up. That's the next show when we're all going to be together. So you need to pick something out of that little pyramid of kits there. And
the one that I have picked out is not in this pyramid. It's but I do want to try to get it finished for Wonderfest. So I do have something in the works.
Yeah, Jared and I have a little secret project for Wonderfest that we're hoping to finish off.
And you didn't tell me about it?
Not yet.
It's terrible. Well, I got 2 for Wonderfest. I'm gonna do the X Plus Spinosaurus and the X Plus T-Rex.
Cool.
And then are we going to be still doing paint demos at Wonderfest for dinosaurs?
I don't know what we're going to be doing yet. That is more of a I guess you can say logistics problem because of space. So Jared and I've got to get our table layout done. So if we can pull it off, absolutely. Show off the paint, let people see how it works in person. So hopefully we can get that pulled off. And
cool.
Same thing for IPMS Nationals. I hope to be able to have you sitting there showing people how to use the paint in person. So
we got all kinds of things in store for Nationals.
Yeah, we'll get it all pulled together, but we'll go ahead and get out of here for tonight. Guys, I really appreciate it. We'll see you next Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, and we'll figure out what we're going to get into then.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Jason, am I going to take the completed Dora to Wonderfest? If it were actually completed, I would absolutely take it to Wonderfest. But at this point, there's no telling when that thing's getting done. Y'all take it easy. We'll see you next week.